down, YouTube, and welcome back. You already know what time it is. It's Thursday and it's 6 p.m. I hope the mic is on this go around because I got word that you guys can hear me the last episode, but I hope it's on today. You are now tuned in to the Tatted Beauty Podcast with your favorite Tatted Beauty, Alasia. You already know, and we're just going to get right into it. Episode 13, baby. But before we start, like, subscribe, share, comment. Thank you to all of the feedback that I've been getting from everyone tuned in every single week. If this has been resonating with you, if this has been helping you, then I know I did my job. Now, episode 13, understanding sacrifice. Now, sacrifice can go a long way. We're not talking about animal sacrifices. We are not talking about human sacrifices. Although, we could get into human sacrifices because there's a lot of people out here sacrificing humans for personal growth. But this show is all about transparency and all about growth, okay? Growth through trauma. So the sacrifices that I am getting into today, are basically sacrifices you give up for spiritual growth, sacrifices that you make for personal growth, we're going to get into all of that. So I want to start off by saying, me personally, I didn't really understand the word in its entirety, sacrifice, until maybe, I believe after I had my daughter. Because, I watched my parents sacrifice for us, but when you're kids, you don't really know or understand that how much or what they're sacrificing to give you the life that they're giving you. So let me go back to why I said when I was younger I didn't really realize it. I kind of took it for granted a little bit. Why? Because my dad had us in the arts when we were younger, and I'm gonna make this brief. And we had to sacrifice a lot. We had to sacrifice family outings. We couldn't go certain places. We couldn't play outside. Well, like regular kids, more normal kids, should I say, because we had rehearsals. We had to get fitted because my mom would sew our clothes for our performances. So there was a lot of times where I didn't feel like a kid, but I didn't realize that my dad was sacrificing his time and his artistry to basically build us into better artists or, humans than he was or that he had. And when my dad went to prison, it was kind of like a damper on everything. And I know I'm not speaking for myself. I know my brother and my sister felt it as well. But when my dad went to prison, it was kind of like we were all like, whatever. It just kind of like we blew it in the wind. And when my dad came home, he would try to talk sense into us, and try to tell us the reasons why he did it or the reasons why he wanted us to get back into it. Because my dad went to prison when I was 6. I believe he came home when I was about 12, I believe. And at that time, it was like I was already in music school for singing, and that just wasn't something that I was willing to do at all. So I was in music school, but like I said, I knew how to sacrifice, because transitioning over to being in music school, and I was playing softball and basketball, I didn't really have the free time that everybody had. So no, I wasn't involved in a lot of the things that a lot of other people grew up with. Yes, I hung out. Yes, with the neighborhood kids, we all had those times. I grew up down the hill, then we moved up the hill. So yes, I had the community time with people, but as far as, hanging out with friends every weekend and stuff like that, I didn't have that luxury because I always had to rehearse for something. I was in the band, so I always had to, I played the flute, so I always had to practice for that, then going to high school, I just sacrificed a lot. And after a while, I was just like, I'm sick of doing it. You know, really sick of doing it. And it's safe to say, I really had no clear understanding of what sacrifice was until I had to sacrifice the things that I love the most, like going out, you know, being with my friends. Um, Everybody else around me is going to all of these events or parties, and I gotta stay in the house because I got a vocal ensemble test tomorrow that I have to study for, and I can't fail. So being in an art school, I know I'm speaking to somebody else when I say it is not easy at all. You make a lot of sacrifices just by auditioning for these types of schools. So for anyone that I'm speaking to that, doesn't want to leave their friends, I've had that conversation with my daughter. She doesn't really understand the meaning of sacrifice. She's just really stern on, I guess you could say, people pleasing. And I'm not saying in a sense where she's a follower, but she loves her friends. She doesn't want to leave her friends. So the idea of moving is not in the cards for her. Moving her away from where she's comfortable is not, it's not a move for her. It's not something that she's thinking of right now, because she doesn't understand that sometimes you got to sacrifice your old life to get the new and better life that you're seeking. And that's where I am at this point in time. I've sacrificed a lot to be where I am right now, to be in the headspace that I am right now. And sometimes I find myself thinking, am I stupid? Am I dumb? Am I gonna find my way? I found myself questioning, asking all of those questions so many times. And in the end, I wound up sacrificing so much and so much of myself for others, that I wound up in, you can say, self-sabotaging in a way, and I still find myself doing it today because everything is a learning process. I am not perfect at all. Every single day that I wake up is a chance to growth, because literally every day I'm being triggered by something. Literally, and to get where I am now and to get where I want to be and where I'm going to be in the future, I had to sacrifice the old version of myself. That anger, that, toxicity, because I was very toxic in a sense, and it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't, to create drama or cause drama, but sometimes we're toxic and don't even know it, and that's sacrificing yourself in a way. Because if you're not willing to sit with yourself, take accountability, you're enabling yourself, and I had to understand all of that. So if I'm speaking to someone, like I say every episode, if you are dealing with not knowing, if you're making the right sacrifices, if you have made the right sacrifices, if you're making the wrong sacrifices, it just takes time. Sit with yourself, isolate yourself if you need to. I talk about this a lot, and I'm going to keep talking about it because it's something that I feel not a lot of people are comfortable with, and that's sitting with themselves. Honestly and genuinely sitting with themselves and understanding all of their behaviors, all of the habits that they have. And I'm telling you, it's the best thing that you could possibly ever do in your life. Like, ever. You know, we make sacrifices sometimes that we don't even know we're making. You know, for instance, for friends. I know I probably am speaking to a couple of people because I know I've done it myself, where, you know, we just think it's a good time. You know what I'm saying? Renting cars for your friends, putting your friends' cars in your name. I've dealt with that plenty of times. No, I don't regret it at all, but I sacrificed my future, my driving abstract, for temporary fun, and because I wanted to please my friend, you know. And again, that's a sacrifice, because later on down the line, I would apply for jobs, and they would look at my driving abstract sometimes, depending on what job it was, if it was a driving job. And it wasn't my tickets, but because I put these vehicles in my name, whether it was for a weekend or whatever, and now you've acquired all of these tickets, they're still in my name. So now I have moving violations on my driving abstract. Now I have, you know, speeding ticket, or whatever the case may be, or whatever they like to put, you know, stamp to your license, because I really don't know how that goes nowadays. But my driving abstract looks crazy, because me not thinking, or us not thinking rather, so let me not just, you know, speak about myself, us not realizing that in the long run, it can mess us up. We're just thinking, oh, well, I got the license, I'm good, we're all good, and we just gonna ride out, you know. And again, nobody's saying that you can't look out for your friends and stuff like that, but in the end, and I know I'm not the only one that's dealt with that, who's the one taking care of all the responsibility that comes with that? Because yeah, they can pay the ticket, but what about after that? Like I said, applying for jobs, driving jobs. You know, you want to get certain licenses. If you have certain things on your license, you could never do that. You know what I mean? Applying for corrections. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's just endless things that we don't even realize we're sacrificing for temporary pleasures or temporary fun, shall we say. You know, we can take it even further. You know, we sacrifice our bodies sometimes, a lot of the times, at young ages. Some of us are late bloomers, you know, so I can go as far as to say drinking. And I've actually spoke about that on a previous episode. You know, that can enable you. You're sacrificing your body, your health. Talked about my dad's health issues with him drinking, you know, busting valves to his heart. I talk about, you know, the fact that you're sacrificing your body, because when you don't have these things, your body breaks down little by little. And you're trying to figure out what's going on, but not understanding that because you didn't put those bottles down all of those weekends, now your body can't even function without it. Sacrificing your body. I've seen that go wrong for plenty of people, athletes. I know a lot of people in the city of Patterson who were football stars. Well, could have been football stars, basketball stars, singers, actors. You know, the list goes on. And they basically sacrificed themselves to adapt to where they're living. And I always said to myself, I never want to be that person. Although I slipped into that mold. I can honestly say I slipped into that mold. And I don't want to see anybody else slip into it. Even if you have, there's always a way to get out. And I am your vessel every Thursday to let you know, if you are, you know, listening and you do tune in, that it's okay. You know, it's okay to still be figuring yourself out. Nobody has themselves completely figured out, you know, unless you've literally done the work. Because a lot of people say that they've done the work and they do the work, and they have not done it. They haven't even tipped the iceberg of doing the work. So if I am speaking to anyone, I swear to you from the bottom of my heart, it's gonna be okay. It's really gonna be okay. I just had a conversation with, my sister earlier, and I'm not gonna say too much, but it literally ties into what I'm talking about, sacrifice, where, she feels like she's kind of not doing enough, or, she feels stagnant because my dad and my sister are no longer here. And I get it. Grieving is something that nobody has a time limit on. Nobody, and I kind of heard in her when she was talking to me, like, she's kind of sacrificing her happiness in a way because she's so scared to do certain things, because she's used to doing it with my dad, or she's used to my sister being there, or she's just used to things being a certain way, a certain family dynamic. And although she is progressing in everything that she's doing in her job, she's a great mom, I just feel like she's sacrificing her happiness because she doesn't feel like she can do it without those two. And I literally, like, broke down like talking to her about it, because I don't ever want to see my sister or anybody else feel so down on themselves when they are doing everything that they can possibly can to become better, and they're doing it, but they're their worst enemy. It's nothing like being your worst enemy. It's nothing like filling your own head with insecurities. It's nothing like it. And I feel like a lot of us nowadays do that because the internet is so shallow and filled with things that people feel like they should be doing, what they should look like, what they should be wearing. It's come to a point where, like, people have sacrificed their way of living completely because they literally go to the internet for everything. And if that ain't sacrificing yourself, I don't know what is, because where's the independence? I get it, no gatekeeping. These are ways for us to connect with other brands, connect with other people on the other side of the world. I get that wholeheartedly. But a lot of people don't know much. Everybody is so consumed with all this electronic stuff that people don't know how to do the simplest things. The simplest things. Like, they don't even do cursive in school anymore. Like, come on, they are making sacrifices that we can't afford. Let me say that again. They are making sacrifices. The world is making sacrifices that we as a people who are living day to day in the struggle, we can't afford. And I know I'm making sense to somebody when I say that. We really can't afford it. So if you out here, trying to get to a better spot, trying to get a clearer head, trying to understand yourself, knowledge of self, you got to understand sometimes sacrifice is needed. Okay? It's definitely needed. So yes, sacrifice can be bad, but sacrifice can be good too, because we hang around people, we hang around jobs, we stay in career fields that are not really rewarding, that is not conducive to the growth that we want to get to. That's just not working out, basically. But some people are taught, a lot of us are taught, don't quit. You never quit. You stick it out to the very end. You never show that type of weakness. You get what I'm saying? But sometimes when you stay in those situations, you get what I'm saying? Like, again, you're enabling yourself and you're sacrificing yourself and your future. I've been there too. So, of course, I gotta give you a little story, with the whole figuring out my purpose, and where I want to go in life, what I want to do. it became a struggle, like a real struggle, as it is for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people come into conflict with what their purpose is. And not to say they don't know what it is, because a lot of people know their purpose, but sometimes it's hard to get the message out there. It became a struggle for me because I didn't really understand the sacrifices that I had to make. And why I say I didn't understand the sacrifices that I had to make was because I tried to take everybody with me. I tried to put everyone on that I knew was doing something. You know, I didn't label anybody. I didn't shun anybody away because of the money that they didn't have, the following that they had or didn't have. I just saw potential in everybody. And that was kind of like my downfall, and why I say that I wound up sacrificing myself. Because in the long run, those people basically were all for self. Some of them, shall we say, and a lot of them were just BSing. So it stagnated me. It put a lot of it dampened like everything that I envisioned, you know, with everything else that I had going on, toxic relationships. And like I said, this is going back to like 2016, 17, you know, when everything kind of started coming to a head. You know, I was sacrificing my time to be around friends, you know, because they say you always make time for friends. Even in career, you always have to make time to be happy, to make yourself happy. But I didn't understand that I was kind of sacrificing my happiness a little bit, because I didn't want to be in those places. I wanted to be traveling. I wanted to be in rooms, certain rooms. You know, I wanted to be on the runway. And a lot of my friends weren't doing what I was doing. You know, a lot of them started to do it later on down the line, which is here nor there. But at the times when I was really having motion and traction, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I was sacrificing more for my friends and the people that I was around, people pleasing, you know, because I didn't want to make it seem like I was, you know, better than anybody. I didn't want to make it seem like just because I was hanging around all these celebrities and I have these celebrity friends, you know what I mean? Like, I forget where I come from, because that will never be me. No amount of money, no amount of, you know, celebrity clientele that I've ever been around has ever made me come different or act different toward anybody. But when that happened to me, I'm just like, dang. You really start to realize everything that you've sacrificed for these people, and you become the sacrifice. See how I just turned that? That's why I said in the beginning, you know, we can get into human sacrifice because people sacrifice humans too, you know? Shit, the Illuminati, we can bring it there, you know? Like I said, sacrifice can range from a whole lot of different things, and human sacrifice is something crazy. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, because that is a very uncomfortable subject for me, because I just don't understand human sacrifice. I will never understand it. But the Illuminati, you know, that is something that has been talked about forever. I've heard it since I was young, you know, these basically people sacrificing their family members, sacrificing, you know, their loved ones for a bag, for a career, for, you know, a position, basically. And I feel like that is disgusting. Okay. I've seen human sacrifice happen every day in the streets. Okay. Literally. Snitching. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a form of human sacrifice, because you can't make more money than the next person, or because they're making more money than you, because they have more of a buzz than you. So you gotta try to humble them. or dim their light, shall we say. So you give a little tip to the cops. I have a friend who's actually in that situation right now, and for anybody that has been in those type of situations where you have been the sacrifice, just understand. I know it's a fucked up feeling. I know for sure. I know because I've been there and I've felt how that felt. But understand, it was something in you. It was something in you that they couldn't stop. So in order for them to stop you, they had to do something outside the norm. You know what I mean? I felt like I have watched my friends sacrifice themselves for relationships. I've sacrificed myself for relationships as well. I had a friend a while back, she was in an abusive relationship. Like, I'm talking about abusive. And I'm just going to tell this story real quick. I invited her out to my birthday one year. And she didn't really want to come out because she was kind of nervous that, her partner was going to, feel some type of way or react in a way that she didn't want him to react. But she wanted to come out and celebrate my birthday. I actually told her, if it's going to be a problem, please don't come. But she wound up coming anyway, and I was excited that she came. We had a great time, and literally, the next day, or rather like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call. She's telling me how he ripped all her clothes off in the middle of the street, calling her all types of whores because she decided to come out to my birthday party. And then he blamed her of sleeping with me, or us messing around with each other because I like females. And in that moment, you know what I mean, I'm really mad at her because, I told her not to come out. I told her that I did not want anything like that to happen to her, you know what I mean? And she had children as well, that weren't his kids, but she had children. And I'm just like, in my head, now that I'm thinking about it now, I'm going to use the word sacrifice, but I didn't use that word back then. But I was like, why would you do that to yourself? And in thinking about it now, yes, she sacrificed herself to make me happy in the moment, but I didn't feel okay with that, and I used to always tell her, stop surrendering to him, because every time you go back, it's just making him feel that it's okay for you to do it. And I found myself in that same situation years down the line, sacrificing myself for my partner, for a relationship, and yes, although I'm not gonna say I regret, the sacrifices that I made in those relationships, I just wish I made better decisions. I wish I would have had the right guidance. I wish I would have taken things more serious, because in life, we don't ever think things are going to happen to us. We don't ever really think, stuff is going to affect us in the ways that they affect us, so we kind of get blindsided. But you already know what time that is. It's time for Isn't It Shady, baby? Put the shades on. It goes with the outfit, complements the outfit. Y'all like the outfit tonight? Yeah, I'm feeling it too. I had a little malfunction, so I had to, put something together. But nonetheless, we here. So let's get right into it. Isn't it shady? We going off topic a little bit. Now, I'm going to let y'all know something. Alicia is not an animal person, okay? I've had a lot of run-ins with animals, so we're just going to get right into it. Isn't it shady that when I was younger, we got a dog named King, okay? And nobody told me that dogs, jump and like to press up on you. Girl, long story short, I walked in my brother's room and the dog started to run after me. It chased me into the closet. I peed on myself and fell asleep in the closet. So I tread lightly with dogs ever since that day. Don't judge me, okay? We are all a work in progress here, all right? I got way more stories than that, traumatizing stories as to why I don't like cats. Hot sauce, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Your girl has been traumatized with a lot over the years, so yeah. Oh man, getting back into the subject at hand, I feel like a lot of people struggle with making the right sacrifices to get the right results. Because again, I've been there where I thought I was just making all the right sacrifices, you know, um, in career, busting my ass in my job, you know what I'm saying, to not be, rewarded or to be recognized for the asset that I am wherever I am. You know what I'm saying? But I also had to understand that that was that man upstairs letting me know that I wasn't ready for half of the things that I thought I was ready for. So all of those sacrifices that I made, all of those things that I did, no, they were not in vain. Absolutely not. Because it got me where I am today. And I'm definitely thankful for it. But it stagnated me for a long time. For a long time. And I hate that for me. And I hate that for anybody else. So I come up here every week because I'm really passionate about what I'm speaking about. I may seem like a gimmick. It may seem like I'm talking out of my ass, but I'm really, really, really serious. Tatted beauty is something that I live on a day-to-day basis. It's something that I really, really, really embody every day now. And I'm thankful that I'm able to come up here and talk to anyone that I'm talking to, because again, we are living in a world that is fucked, basically. And I don't mean to be negative when I say that or have a negative aura when I say that, but I'm pretty sure a couple of people can agree with me when I say the world is fucked. We have a lot of people who are in position, who are professionals, who we think are professionals, should we say, who are not really professionals. I seen somebody write that on their status today, a lot of these industry professionals are not really professionals. Yes, they've made sacrifices, but have they made the right sacrifices? That's why you see a lot of these stars or a lot of these industry people going downhill or not having the traction that they once had. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the sacrifices they make can fuck them over in the end, And I don't want anybody to be that person, I can't say that I have made a human sacrifice. I can't say that. I really can't. I don't think that I've ever sacrificed a human for my own personal growth. And if I have, I could say that not sacrifice. I didn't sacrifice my child, but I made sacrifices with my child in that situation to get me in a better space, because I was going through a lot mentally, and I told her dad that. But in releasing her to her dad, I can honestly say I sacrificed a lot of time missed with my child because I was ripping and running and trying to do all of these things with my career, party promoting, modeling gigs, fashion shows, hosting events, yacht parties or whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? Even though my thought process was, I'm doing this to better me and my child's situation, in all actuality, I was sacrificing myself. And I was being selfish. I really was. And I'm not saying that we all don't have the time where we need to be selfish to get where we need to be, because our kids would definitely understand that. But I just felt like I was wasting too much time doing that. And I have apologized to my child over and over for the horrible sacrifices that I have made that have led me to my demise, basically. you know? So for any parent out there, I know there's a lot of parents out here nowadays, young parents as well. They are starting off very young. So if I'm talking to any parents out there that feel like, you know, making certain sacrifices for your child or for yourself is the wrong thing to do, it's not. It's really not. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice yourself for your children. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice your old life for a new one. You gotta sacrifice your old friends for new ones if you're trying to outgrow certain behaviors. And it's not to say that your friends are beneath you. It's not to say that your friends are not on the same level as you. They're just not growing with you. So understand that, because a whole friend group can have the same amount of money. They can go to the same places, be in the same rooms, but they all have different mindsets. And mindset matters when you are trying to build relationships, when you're trying to build teams. And that's something that I sacrificed because I was so in my pride and my ego, and I'm like, I can do this myself. I can do this by myself. I can do that. I can do this, and it stagnated me for a long time, and like I said, I'm thankful every day that I was able to create this platform, that I'm able to talk to you guys every single week, that I'm able to speak to my sister about the same things that I speak to you guys about, because it wouldn't be a purpose if I wasn't living this every day of my life. And literally, what I speak to you guys, I literally live every day of my life. Not to say that I'm perfect and I don't have slip-ups and things like that, but I'm figuring it out. I'm a work in progress, and I will never stop fixing myself. So never stop fixing yourself. Never stop sacrificing for yourself, for your growth. We all deal with traumas. I'm not up here trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm literally just pouring my heart out and giving you guys the real deal. Yes, there are a lot of people out here that give the real deal too, but they ain't gonna give it like Lay. They ain't gonna give it like me. I'm sorry. I'm just very, very passionate about what I speak to you guys about. And yes, it took for life to bite me in the ass for me to finally get up and do what I've always wanted to do. But I feel like, in a sense, God sacrificed my sister, to get me there, to get my family places. It put a spark in my little sister. It put a spark in my mom. It put a spark in my brother, and all different sparks, but nonetheless, it put a different spark in each one of us to attack certain things that we necessarily didn't think that we could, things that my older sister would speak to us about, or that she would have conversations about, and even though I hate to think those ways that, that man upstairs took her to better all of us, I hate to think that way, but sometimes it's true what they say, that man takes people to be your guardian angels. And I can honestly say she's definitely that. Her and my dad have definitely been guardian angels. I see the signs every day. So again, make the right sacrifices, and if you don't know if you're making the right sacrifices, then pull back. there's always room to pull back. It's always time for you to just stop, listen, and attack what's yours all the time. No matter what it is, no matter the obstacles, no matter how many people are doing it, no matter what. No matter what. Even if you are a parent, and I'm going to go back to that because sometimes we feel as parents we have to sacrifice everything for our children. Everything. And I'm here to tell you sometimes that's not the right way to go. I don't mean to speak on my mom in these ways, but I feel like my mom sacrificed so much for us that she wasn't able to genuinely be happy and live the life that she wanted to live. Because she just felt like she needed to do all of these things for her family. She needed to do all of these things. You know, she had to sacrifice everything for us. And I'm very appreciative of that. And I feel like I've let my mom down in certain ways with that. But I also know that my mom is very proud of me also, you know. And I just want to take the time out to tell any mom out there that has sacrificed for their children, you know, I applaud you. Because to be so selfless and to put your life on the back burner for your children in any way, shape, or form, that's a superhero. Okay? That's really, really a superhero. And I admire you guys. I really, really do. And just keep pushing. Keep pushing for anybody out there that's lost. For anybody out there, like I said, who don't really know if they're making the right moves, if they're making the right sacrifices, the wrong sacrifices, if they have the right people around them, if their judgment is clouded, you know. Sit with yourself. Seriously. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate that I might be talking in circles. That's because this is all raw and authentic. You're going to get the real, the raw. I'm actually going to start going live. I'm going to put the show's page at the bottom right there. I will be going live on Tuesdays at 6 p.m., you know, where you guys can get a little bit more familiar with who I am. My authentic self. You know, I know you guys see me up here every Thursday, and it's probably just like the same thing. You see me up here dressed all, you know, stuff. I just want to give you guys the real deal and show you guys that, like, I really live what I talk about on here every single day. And I'm just trying to get other people to a point where they can honestly live in their truth, live with themselves, and understand that you are not your trauma, and you can overcome all of that, regardless of how many people are against you, regardless of how many mistakes you have made, regardless of how many no's you've gotten, no matter how many tatted memories, okay? We are attacking them every episode at a time, each episode at a time. So again, I appreciate everyone that has been tuning in. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I hope I resonated with someone. I really, really hope I resonated with someone, because these are topics that I really feel like a lot of people need to take heed to. Again, I may not be the person that you want to listen to, but listen to somebody. Because I promise you, there's a lot of us out here that are trying to change lives through our own personal experiences. And some people are receptive to them, some people are not. But either way, like I say, if I helped one person in the episode, I know I did my job. And that's that on that. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the show up. And my final thought for today is, and I have been saying it the entire episode, and I'm going to reiterate it now. Make the right sacrifices. Be selfless. Make the right sacrifices. But don't sacrifice so much that you wind up sacrificing yourself. I am big on that. Do not make so many sacrifices that you wind up sacrificing yourself in the end. Okay? Okay. Now, again, I'm your favorite Tatted Beauty. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, like, subscribe, share, comment. I'll see you guys next Thursday. This has been Tatted Beauty Podcast. Their host, Alasia. See you next time.